There are many of us who work part-time jobs. Of course, living on minimum wage is not very sustainable. So many have proposed that an increase in the minimum wage will help solve this problem. But frankly, it is only going to cause more problems to surface. I have worked part-time jobs and I know just how little the pay can actually be. A large number of college and university students work in jobs where they are making minimum wage. Recently, the minimum wage in Florida has been set to increase to $15 an hour over the course of a few years. But frankly, I would not want my wage to increase for the simple fact that it would only cause more problems and it would negatively affect my pay and the pay of many others who also earn a minimum wage in the long run because it will cause a decrease in the number of hours everyone ends up working and potentially cost us our jobs. I'm sure some of you have also worked jobs where you earn minimum wage, and as much as a wage increase does sound nice, it is not very practical. As author Jack Kelly put in his article titled "The Unintended Consequences of Raising Minimum Wage." The idea of raising the minimum wage is noble and commendable, but many of the arguments rely upon raw emotion and neglect sound economic ramifications that will adversely impact the same people it's actually trying to help. Identifying the problem is the first step of solving the minimum wage crisis in this country, according to Michael Saltzman from the Employment Policies Institute. The majority, 70%, of the working poor will receive no benefit from the proposed increase because they already earn more than $7 an hour. The reason they are in poverty has little to do with their wage level and more to do with the number of hours they work and also the size of the family. Something a minimum wage increase would actually make worse. Increasing minimum wage essentially will increase unemployment rates throughout the country. However, of course, there is a solution to this problem. Manipulation to the EITC, also known as the Earned Income Tax Credit, can be a way to solve this issue. By altering the income tax of those who earn a low wage and also live in poor conditions, there can be a way to provide a stable stream of income that can be used to support these families. Illinois has already adopted this plan and is going well so far. The EITC is a way that the minimum wage problem can be solved. Michael Saltzman, who I also mentioned previously, also mentions in his article titled "A Better Solution to the Minimum Wage Debate." Economic research from the University of Georgia found that an expansion in the EITC was associated with a boost in earnings and employment for single mothers. Meanwhile, the minimum wage increase was found to put a job further out of reach. Now, let's consider what our country would look like if we actually adopted these policies. Adopting these policies would help those who are living in rather poor conditions. As I mentioned previously, these policies have already been adopted in Illinois. Those in Illinois are effectively making an extra $3 an hour because of these policies that have been implemented. In his article titled, "Does the minimum wage need to be raised? No. An increase hurts those who is meant to help." Niels Veldhuis states, put simply, increase in the minimum wage labor costs to employers who respond by reducing the number of employees and or the number of hours worked. Of course, because the minimum wage was never officially increased, this means there are still more jobs and opportunities out there for people. In a nutshell, it is important to identify why a minimum wage increase can be detrimental, but it is also important to identify a solution to this problem. As nice as an increase to the minimum wage sounds, it can ultimately lead to even more problems, which many may not see. Realize what the effects of minimum wage mean and understand what can be done to solve this issue right away. The minimum wage increase can cause major problems in our country, but of course, for every problem, there's always a solution. Thank you.